We are here for a review hearing. We commenced this back on April 24th. We didn't have a key witness available that day, so we reset to today's date. All right, we are conducting this through Zoom under a finding of good cause and agreement of the parties. We're live streaming. Ms. Taylor's making our record. All right, we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Todd Albee on behalf of the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. I'm present, ready to proceed, Your Honor. I think we have an agreement that we can announce to the court this morning.
Aaron Mullinex, attorney ad litem, or attorney for the father. He is present. We're ready, Your Honor.
Brooks Barfield, attorney for mother. Marisol, we are present and ready.
Sage Seal, attorney ad litem, Your Honor. I'm present and ready.
Casey Lucario with Costa.
All right. Thank you all very much. All right, Mr. Albee.
Your Honor, the department in St. Francis still has some concerns with these parents. However, based upon the recommendations of Ms. Rothwell, the parents counselor, we would like to announce that we have an agreement that would increase visitation, unsupervised visits with the parents up until June 10th. On June 10th, the children would have an two-night overnight stay with the parents, and if all goes well, we would begin a monitored return on June 10th.
Are we waiting to call it any kind of monitored return for purposes of
Judge
dismissal dates? Are we waiting to see how things go and then enter into a order for monitored return?
We can do it either way. I don't think we have a dismissal date issue, but we can do it either way, whichever way the court feels most appropriate.
Your Honor, the dismissal date's not till July 26th, and so we figure there'd be at least 6 weeks when they're actually returned to the home. So I think we'd be fine doing it either way also. But we would, the first step of that, he's provided us with a reunification plan. And the first step of that is two unsupervised 2-hour visits this week. And it's Thursday. So Mr. Nahara would just ask that the first of those take place today if we're doing that, since there's only 3 days left in the week.
And we can make that work.
Okay. All right. I show the dismissal date is July 13th. I don't know where that discrepancy is, but I showed it July 13th. Our final is set for June 26th. So we're, this is all, coming around pretty quick. I guess my preference is to wait to actually sign the order for monitored return until that time. That just gives us the maximum amount of time to, continue to work on things if we need to. So I think the better thing today is just to continue everything and just, go ahead and order the increased visitation as announced. And then when we get closer to that actual date, if everything's going well, then y'all can just send me an order, and we'll sign it.
Can do.
Okay.
I got the dismissal date from the permanency report, so I'm sure yours is more correct than mine.
Can't claim
Sure
pride of authorship of that at all, so I don't know. That's what I show. But anyway, in an abundance of caution, let's go with the 7/13 date just to be sure. But okay, all right then, Mr. Barfield, is that what you all have agreed to?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. We have Ms. Mullinex.
Yes, Your Honor. And just for the court's record, we do have the counselor, Ms. Rothwell, here if you want to hear from her regarding anything. She's the counselor for the parties.
Okay. And then Ms. Seal, do you think that that's in the best interest of the children?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm in agreement.
All right. And Casa.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm in agreement as well.
Okay. All right. Since she's here, then let me just ask her, Ms. Rothwell, do you think that this is in the best interest of these children?
Yes, ma'am. I think reunification is the best plan to proceed with for all parties involved.
Okay. And you feel like parents have made progress and
I feel like parents are making progress, and I feel like that when they actually have the girls in their, with them, that progress will become even more evident. I feel like we're in a stall mode right now because we've been in limbo. And I feel like having the girls with them will push them to become even better at parenting.
Okay. Are your sessions continuing with them?
Yes, ma'am, they are continuing. And I would, when they have an overnight visit, I'm planning on, I had talked to them about coming to the house and having a family session with them when they have an overnight visit.
Okay.
And Your Honor,
Alright.
we're fine if you order that as well.
Okay. Yeah. I want the counseling to continue. I mean, I think it's just it's a good support for
Yes.
the parents and for the children. So I think I would like to see that continue at least for a certain period of time. It gives them an avenue to discuss any problems or, if they need assistance or with something or whatever. So I think that's a good thing. All right. Okay. Well, I appreciate Ms. Rothwell. I appreciate you logging in this morning and appearing and working with the family. I appreciate it very much.
I apologize for being late, Judge. I got the wrong Zoom link.
No, it's okay. We were still working on things. No problem. Okay, then I will continue the department as temporary managing conservator of the children and continue their current placement. I'll approve the phase-in visitation plan. Obviously increasing that unsupervised and then overnights. And then if everything has gone well, then Mr. Albee, you all can just submit the order for monitored return and I'll sign it when we get closer to that June 10th. Is that what you said?
That's correct. Yes, Your Honor.
All right. If we have a problem, then y'all know, just let Miss Katie know and we'll try to sneak a hearing in real quick somewhere.
And Your Honor, you said that final set for June 26th, is that on the 9 o'clock docket?
It is on the 9 o'clock docket. And so, if we've already gone into a monitored return at that point, probably that'll just be vacated. Unless there's some issue that we need to get together and talk about. But for right now, that's when it's set. Okay, then I appreciate everybody. Thank you all for logging in early this morning. And I hope everybody has a good rest of your day. Mr. Nahara and Ms. Garza, I wish you all the best of luck with this. Just keep your heads in the game.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Judge.
Okay. All right. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Judge.
We are here today to resume our final, which we began back on April 29th. We took testimony that day and then recessed. Let's see, I think Ms. Valenzuela was maybe on the stand, and I'm looking here. We passed the witness.
We finished our testimony.
She was excused.
Yes, sir.
And then we recessed, so we'll be ready for your next witness. But let's go ahead and take announcements since we're here on a new day.
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. We're present, ready, Your Honor.
Maureen Lucille on behalf of the mother, Kaylin Robinson, Your Honor. I'm present and ready. Ms. Robinson will not be present today.
T.D. Hammonds for Robbie Wilson, the father. He will not be present either, Judge. I think you're going to find out we're going to present relinquishments to the court.
Okay.
Stacy Zabala on behalf of Carson.
All right. And Mr. Hammonds, thank you for the spoiler alert.
Oh.
Okay. All right, then, Mr. Trout, you can call your next witness.
Call Marvell Collins, Your Honor. And Ms. Collins, how are you employed?
I'm a permanency supervisor with St. Francis.
And are you familiar with the case we're discussing today?
Yes.
And how are you familiar with that case?
I've been supervising the case since the child's removal.
Okay. Ms. Collins, we'll talk with them about the mother first. Did the responding mother, execute an affidavit of voluntary relinquishment on May 7th of 2024?
Yes,
Have you had the opportunity to review that relinquishment?
I have.
Did the respondent mother sign the relinquishment?
Yes,
Were there two witnesses to the relinquishment?
there were.
Has it been notarized?
It has.
Has the department consented to being designated managing conservator of the child?
Yes,
Was that filed with the court on May 7th of 2024?
it was.
Your Honor, I'd ask to admit exhibit number 1, which is the affidavit of voluntary relinquishment executed by the mother, Kaylin Robinson, on May 7th that was just testified.
Objection?
No objection.
No objection.
No objection.
All right, petitioner's exhibit 1 will be admitted.
Ms. Collins, is the department asking to terminate the parental rights of the mother, Kaylin Robinson, based solely upon the affidavit of voluntary relinquishment that you just testified to?
Yes, sir.
And are you asking to make the department the permanent managing conservator of the child?
Yes,
And do you believe that is in the best interest of the child?
I do.
Thank you, ma'am. As to the father, Robbie Wilson, did the respondent father execute an affidavit of voluntary relinquishment on May 7th of 2024?
He did.
Have you had the opportunity to review that relinquishment?
I have.
Did the father sign the relinquishment?
Yes,
Were there two witnesses?
there were.
Was it notarized?
It was.
Has the department consented to being designated the managing conservator of the child?
Yes,
And was that relinquishment filed with the court on May 7th of 2024?
it was.
Your Honor, I'd ask to admit exhibit number 2, which is the voluntary relinquishment that was just testified to.
Any objection, counsel?
No
No
objection.
objection.
No, Judge.
All right, petitioner's exhibit 2 will be
Is
admitted.
the child in a long-term home at this time?
Yes.
Are they already licensed? Are they looking to be licensed?
No, they're already a licensed foster home.
And their plan is to adopt Carson?
They're hoping to be able to adopt him. Yes.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Lucero, any questions?
Just a couple, Your Honor. Ms. Collins, currently, does the child continue to have visitation with maternal grandparents?
Yes.
Okay, is the plan to continue that contact?
Yes.
Okay. I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, Mr. Hemmons?
No questions, Judge.
All right, and Ms. Zavala?
No questions, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Trout, anything further of this witness?
Just one quick question. Ms. Collins, based upon the voluntary relinquishments, the department's willing to waive all of the grounds and ask for termination solely on the relinquishments, correct?
Correct.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, then. Mr. Trout, do you have any additional witnesses or do you rest?
No witnesses, we'd rest, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, Ms. Lucero, anything to present today?
Your Honor, no witnesses. My client did want to let the court know that she signed this document. She felt that was best for Carson, but she is hopeful that the contact that her father and stepmother have with Carson will continue as long as possible. But that's all I have, Your Honor.
All right, and Ms. Lucero, do you rest?
I rest, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Hemmons?
No witnesses, Judge, and I have nothing to add. I'll rest and close.
All right, and Ms. Zavala?
No witnesses. I rest.
Okay, Ms. Zavala, do you have a recommendation to make?
I do, Your Honor. I do believe that it's in Carson's best interest that the parental rights be terminated to both parents at this time. Carson is in a wonderful placement. He's been there for over a year. He's thriving, and I recommend that placement continue.
All right, so just as a quick question, so the visits or contact between maternal grandfather and stepmother, what have we been doing on those? I mean, how's that been working?
It actually works pretty well. They have 2 visits per month, 3 hours apiece. And right now that it's supervised, the current caregivers are willing to continue that contact. I don't know if it'll be the same type of schedule, but we'll continue it right now.
Okay. All right, then. Everybody close?
Close.
Close.
Yes, Judge.
All right, then. At this time, I do find by clear and convincing evidence that it is in the best interest of the child to terminate the parental rights between the child and his mother, Kaylin Robinson, based on her voluntary affidavit of relinquishment. I find by clear and convincing evidence that it is in the best interest of the child to terminate the parental rights between the child and his father, Robbie Wilson, based on his voluntary affidavit of relinquishment and the best interest of the child. I pulled up his relinquishment, and it does acknowledge in there that he is the father of the child. So I don't find that we had previously adjudicated him. He was an alleged father, so want to take care of that this time. Okay, I'll name the department as permanent managing conservator, and I will continue the child's current placement. I'll dismiss all court-appointed attorneys from the case after the de novo and appellate timeframes expire. Counsel, as always, be mindful your de novo timeframe does begin to run since I've rendered in open court. And please do not file a notice of appeal if you're instructed to do so until a final order has been signed and adopted by the referring court. At this time, I'll approve the continued contact between the maternal grandfather and the step grandmother. As long as the placement's willing to do that, I think it's great. So, okay, thank y'all very much, and I'll sign the order when we get it. And hope everybody has a good rest of your day.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Place. I'm doing this from home today.
Me too. How's it going?
It's all right. I'm faking it. Can you tell? I got a t-shirt on, but I put a jacket over the top.
Well, I normally wear a button up, and now the judge is on. She may chew me out, but I saw Brooks was wearing a polo style shirt yesterday, as he is today. That's good. And so
I wore two shirts yesterday. I changed outfits in the middle of the hearings.
You go do another thing that the judge has admonished you not to schedule anything for that day.
Well, when the judge schedules stuff, earlier than 9 a.m., I'm just, lucky I'm not in a bathrobe.
Well, and Todd Albee, I did a hearing with Todd Albee.
5 a.m. and, gone for her run and all sorts of stuff. So
it's not summer rules yet.
Not yet. I hope you didn't hear that I'm faking it today.
I heard it all.
I went and put on a jacket.
Let's just hope Amy can type it all down.
I've got the unknown father, and he objects to this whole thing. He's very upset.
I've got mom is trying to join. She's not connecting through, but she's trying. I've got somebody on the phone. I'm going to bring him in and see who that is.
Are we ever going to get this Palmer County case wrapped up? How many final hearings?
Just don't talk about it today. Hey, just be glad you didn't get to drive down.
I always forget you have to drive. That sucks. And that's by code?
Got to be in that district.
Oh. Can you not call Rampelmeyer and see if he can lobby to change that or something?
Next legislative session, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
We're here in each case today on review hearings, and we are conducting this through Zoom under a finding of good cause and agreement of the parties. We are live streaming, and Ms. Taylor is making our record. All right, we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Erica Flores is my primacy specialist. We're present ready.
Ryan Turman on behalf of respondent mother. We are present, and I am present, and yes, it appears she is also present via audio.
Okay.
Brooks Barfield, present for Huberto Medina. I don't know where he is.
Your Honor, I'm Tate Eldridge. I represent the unknown father, and I'm present ready.
Stacey Zabella on behalf of Jalen and Ismail.
All right, and for the record, I'll just clarify, Mr. Eldridge is only in the Jalen case.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And Judge, just for clarification, Mr. Barfield also has Orta Dad also on the other case. Is that correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry.
No, you're
Okay, what do we have new since court report was filed?
The kiddos are doing really good. They're still with the current caregiver. She's great at making sure that all dental and medical and psychologicals and stuff like that are done for the kids. She does travel to Lubbock because Ismael does have testing done over there. Sometimes we are having a very hard time trying to get his special eye exam that he received. Caregiver is going down in a couple of weeks to go again to Lubbock for allergy testing, or actually she has gone down for allergy testing, and she will go down again to retrieve those medical that medical report for his eyes. Other than that, they're thriving. Jalen continues to do play therapy. She is doing those with mom every Tuesday, and they're doing really good. Her play therapy sessions are with DeLewis Henders. So DeLewis just said that whenever Jalen struggles, Leah struggles. So DeLewis does help her redirect Jalen whenever she is having a hard time. But other than that, the kids are doing really good.
Okay. Good. So are we trying to get him in with the different eye specialists, or where does that stand?
I can't hear again.
Oh.
Okay. I am going to go to Stacy Brown's office.
My computer did that the other day. I can't remember if it was you or Judge Graham that it just, for whatever reason, just decided to not let me be heard. Yeah, that or somebody else did that. Huh.
That was the rest of us.
I think it's censored.
Hey, wait a minute.
Leave it alone.
Yeah, I was gonna say a light bulb might have gone on just now. Wait a minute.
Okay. I apologize. Sorry.
No, it's no problem. Okay, and I'm trying to remember what I was trying to ask you.
The eye exam.
Yeah, thank you. So are we waiting to get another doctor involved, a specialist, or do we have one? And I wasn't clear about that.
No, he did have an eye exam. We're just waiting for that report because it was a full medical eye exam. And we're just waiting for that report to see how he's doing and, make sure his eyes are okay.
Okay. All right. All right. And how is Ms. Garcia doing otherwise on services?
Mrs. Garcia is doing good. We have, I believe she's continuing the play therapy sessions that she's doing with Jalen. She continues those every week. We do have counseling that she was court ordered to do for domestic violence. Her last session was it was on, let me see, back in November, but I did request transportation for her to go yesterday. And her therapist, Stephen Nelson, did retire. So we are good, have her do the 3 sessions again because of the new counselor that really knows nothing about her domestic violence. She is drug screening monthly and they have been coming back negative. So other than that, she's doing good. Her visits with the children are now at caregiver's house every Tuesday and Thursday from 4 to 6 or 6 to 8. I'm sorry.
Okay. So I read in the report that y'all had mediated and that a tentative agreement was reached. I guess I would like a little clarification on what that means.
So caregiver is going to gain PMC. We're going through all of that. I think the only thing was just the child support. Leah had said she could pay, I believe it was $120 a month on child support, but that's really, caregiver would like to go back and try to see if she can get a little extra help just because of daycare costs once she gains PMC.
So let me just ask Mr. Trout. Do we have an MSA or do we not?
It's not a full one, Judge. We've agreed to, after this hearing, to go back. We were trying to figure a few things out. So we were agreeing to go back into mediation. I think we tentatively set a date for July 2nd to do that with the mediator. We had some things pop up right before the mediation that kind of gave us some concern. And when we got to that mediation, we brought that up, kind of caught Mr. Terman a little off guard on that, just because he didn't know some of the information we had just found out. And so we're looking to go back into mediation on that to try to nail down our agreements.
Okay. All right. And I think I read too that mom has returned to working full time.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. She's working at McAllister's full time. Yes.
Okay. All right.
I am here at work. I do have to get in and clock in. Sorry.
It's okay. What, we're just about done. Well, before you leave, Mr. Terman, anything you all need to talk about?
Nothing that I can think of, Judge.
Okay. All right, Ms. Garcia, if you need to get into work, go ahead. Mr. Terman's here. He can catch you up on anything else that comes about, but I don't think there'll be much of anything else.
Judge, I do have one question for Ms. Garcia real quick.
Okay.
Can you hear me, Ms. Garcia?
Yes.
Do you know where Mr. Orta is?
At the moment, I do not. The last place I didn't know, I mean, he was here in town. I just saw that he was in jail. That was the last thing I heard about him, was that he was in jail. When he got out, I have no idea where he's at from now.
Okay. But y'all were
besides
in
when he was in
contact.
jail.
Y'all were in contact before he went to jail, correct?
Yes, he did contact me, yes.
And while he was in jail?
While he was in jail?
Yes.
I got
You
calls
talked
from
to him
there,
while he was
but
in jail?
Okay, wait, you guys are talking all over each other. Look
I
at
did
Miss
talk to
Taylor.
him while he was in jail. I guess his mom sent him my number or gave him my number, and he did talk to me while he was in there. But once he got out of jail, I don't know where he's at.
Okay. So y'all aren't together?
No, I am currently talking to somebody else that Erica knows about. I've even given her his name and asked her to run a background on him. So, but no, I am not currently with him.
Okay. All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and Ms. Garcia, you're free to go if you need to go on into work.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks.
Can I just suggest, I don't know what jail he was in, but I assume he's on bond? Could we just not talk to his bondsman?
No, I think he worked out a payment for his, it was some
Oh, was it
plastic
municipal
stuff.
stuff?
He's not, yeah, he's not on bond.
I did,
Guys, hang on. You guys are driving Amy nuts.
Sorry.
Look at her face. She's making faces at you. She never makes faces at you. Okay, slow down, everybody, please. All right. Who wants to talk? Mr. Terman, Mr. Trout?
I think we said it. I just suggested that if he was in jail, he probably has a bond, but then Mr. Trout pointed out that I guess it was just municipal tickets, so no bond to find him with.
I did call, and he did not keep up with the payment arrangements, so.
Okay. All right then, Mr. Barfield.
I have nothing really to report other than, if somebody figures out where my clients are, that'd be swell. Let me know. We'll keep checking the jails.
Okay. I'm trying to remember, how did you end up with these two different dads?
I don't know is the honest answer. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they're two separate cases, so I don't know that there's necessarily a conflict necessarily. I may have inherited, I'd have to go back and look. I may have inherited one of them. I don't know if another lawyer was on it and got off or how that happened.
One was an unknown originally.
Yeah, I think that was it.
But I'm just, I mean, they are two separate cases. So it's just unusual.
Yeah, and I thought about that and I was like, well, I don't really see where there's necessarily a conflict as they're complete different cases. So I mean, if the court's uncomfortable, then I can stay on one, put somebody else on the other. I don't mind. But in any event, either one of these clients, I basically are in the wind right now. So from that standpoint, anyway. But yeah, no, it kind of confused me a little bit. But then I was like, well, separate cases, separate dads, separate everything. So I guess it's okay.
Yeah. No, I mean it's okay. It's just kind of unusual. I was just trying to remember how it.
And I do not. I can't remember into last week, Judge.
Okay. Nobody has a problem though, correct? Everybody okay?
No objection for me.
Okay.
No, ma'am. Mr. Barfield and I talked about this at the mediation because I for some reason it had never clicked with me that he was on both of them too till we got in mediation and we talked about it there.
Okay. All right, so you all are set to go back to mediation. What'd you tell me?
I believe it's July 2nd.
July 2nd?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Mr. Eldridge, anything to report?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, and Ms. Zavala?
Just a few questions for Ms. Flores. For Jalen, she's kind of regressed some in some behaviors recently. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And was there a new CANS that was done?
Yes, ma'am.
And that, if I'm correct, that recommended specific behavior therapy and specific trauma therapy. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so I know she's already doing the play therapy with Delois Hinders. Is there additional therapy that's going to be set up for her?
Yes, placement did get licensed with Arrow, so she is going to be seen weekly for behavioral therapy there as well, and that will be done at her school.
At her school?
Yes.
Okay. And then you had mentioned visitation being 2 times a week. I think it was mentioned as Tuesday and Thursday with placement supervising. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is it possible that placement will need some flexibility with those visitation times?
Yes, ma'am. We talked to caregiver about that because she has a family of her own, and they're, there's some stuff that pops up. So her and Leah coordinate a little bit of that, like if they need to switch days or whatever. But Leah still gets her 4 hours a week that she gets with her children.
Okay, so those days and times can be flexible as long as Leah gets those 4 hours over the week.
Yes, and that's going to start next week. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and if any problem arises in terms of that scheduling of the visitation, is it a possibility that those visits could be moved back to the visit house if there is a problem that arises?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay, but right now we're not anticipating any, and we're looking at 4 hours a week with some flexibility as to days and times.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I pass the witness.
Okay. Anybody got any other questions for this witness, or do anybody have anything further they need to report?
Nothing for the judge.
Okay, then, Ms. Zavala, you got a recommendation today?
Yes, Your Honor. The kids are together in a relative placement, and placement is doing really well with them. I just wanted to make sure that flexibility was built in for them, but I do recommend that placement continue.
Okay, very good. All right, then I'll continue the department as temporary managing conservator and continue the children's placement, find that there would be a continuing danger to send the children home today. And we will be back for our final on July 11th of 2024. That's on a 9 o'clock docket. Obviously, y'all are going to go back to mediation July 2nd. And so I'll see everybody back for the final. Is the department asking for anything today as far as like drug testing or anything like that?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Sorry.
All right, very good. Then I'll see y'all in July. Thank you.
Thank you,
We're
Judge.
set on
Thank you.
our final. We're conducting this through Zoom under a finding with good cause and agreement of the parties. We're live streaming, and Ms. Taylor is making our record. All right, we'll take announcements.
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. We're present, ready, Your Honor.
Joel Jackson on behalf of Dalvin Lucky, present, Your Honor. My client is currently incarcerated. Ready.
All right, I'm looking for Mr. Hammonds. I'm sorry.
He doesn't appear to be on. Do I need to be here?
Mr. Barfield, you're not involved in this one.
Okay, I didn't. I wanted to stay on long enough to make sure that everything's good with my particular case, and that everything's good to go, and I can go. That's why I stayed on.
I think you're good to go.
Good? Okay, then I'm going to get off.
Okay.
Good to see you. Thank y'all, everybody. Bye.
Thank you. All right, so
Judge,
logged in earlier, but
I've got, this is kind of odd. We've got I've got Mr. Hammond's signature on agreed order. Mr. Jackson couldn't sign on that agreed order. So I don't know if Mr. Hammond sent that and thought he didn't need to be here for this one. I'm not sure. I haven't heard from him since he sent me a signature.
okay. Somebody reach out to him real quick and see if he wants to log back in.
Leaves me, but Stacy Zavala for Cambria and Cali.
Okay.
Judge Baker, I called the only number I have for TD. It went to voicemail. I left him a message to hop on if he was, but
Okay. Well, I'm assuming he's not here because he thought that was taken care of, but okay, we'll go ahead and proceed from there. All right, Mr. Trout. You can call first.
well, and Judge, just to update the court on what this is, parties went to mediation. We came to an agreement with mom and placement on this. Mr. Jackson was not able to agree due to his client being incarcerated in federal custody and not being able to reach him. So I can announce as far as the agreement with mom and placement, and then we may have to take a short testimony on Mr. Jackson's client to have the court rule on that.
Okay. That was the plan.
The agreement at the mediated settlement agreement was that Mother Shatasha and placement Tammy Thomas would be joint managing conservators, with Ms. Thomas being primary to decide residency. Mom should have minimum exclusive rights possession, but minimum unsupervised 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. on the first, third, and fifth Saturday of each month. Mother would agree to pay Ms. Thomas child support at minimum wage, as well as pay $50 a month in medical support. And that'll be minimum wage on 3 children, the 2 in this case and the 1 child in the Wilson case. That's already been agreed to. As far as what we're discussing with father, would be upon Mr. Lucky's release from prison, within 30 days would be ordered to pay child support at minimum wage on the 2 children, and $50 a month is what we would be asking for. His possession of the children be up to 2 hours a month, continuously supervised through family support services. And he'll be responsible for registering with the family support and set up the visits. And it was in there that we would be severing these cases due to the Wilson Lucky fathers being different. So that's why we severed those cases. But that is what we have discussed and what the agreement was made with mom and placement. And then I would need to put on a little testimony as far as Mr. Jackson's client.
Okay.
And I'd call Aaron Tyndall. And how are you familiar with those cases?
I am their caseworker, their permanency specialist, so I see them quite often.
And you heard what I explained to the court just then as far as what we talked about at mediation?
Yes, I have.
And under the understanding that Mr. Jackson's client could not be in agreement due to not being available?
Yes, I understand.
What I announced to the court, is that what the department is asking for today?
Yes.
For dad, once he is released from jail, to pay child support, medical support, and have visitation supervised?
Yes, that is correct.
Where is dad currently?
Dad is currently incarcerated in Beaumont, Texas, at a federal prison down there. And that's
have you had issues throughout this case getting in touch with him?
Yes, I have sent letters each month asking for him to contact me.
Okay. Have you received anything back?
I have not.
Did you receive what I sent out as exhibit number 1?
Yes, I did.
And have you reviewed that document?
Yes, I have.
And have you been to this website before?
Yes, I have.
And is this a government website?
Yes, it is. I believe so.
And it states that Mr. Lucky is in the Beaumont unit.
Yes, it does.
And his release date
is August of 2028.
Okay. Your Honor, I'd ask to admit exhibit number 1. It's the a printout of the government website stating where Mr. Lucky is and when his release date is.
No objection.
No objection.
All right, petitioner's exhibit 1 will be admitted.
Thank you, Honor. Ms. Timmer, do you believe that, based on the facts of the case, that the following the mediated settlement agreement and what we are asking for with dad is in the best interest of the children?
Yes, I do.
And is that what you're asking the court to do today?
Yes, it is.
Is to order dad upon release to pay child support at minimum wage based on the 2 children?
Yes.
$50 in medical support?
Yes.
And to have dad supervise visits for minimum of 2 hours a month?
Yes, that is correct.
At family support services?
Yes.
And dad will be required to set that up?
That is correct.
And you do believe that's in the best interest?
I do believe that is in the best interest of the children.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Hammonds. Oh, he didn't hear. Okay. Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, Judge. Ma'am, I don't, were you present at the mediation when this was mediated?
Yes, I was.
Okay. I had some information here, and I'm not sure where this came from, but the mother in this case, Shatasha, I think that she, to your knowledge, has she been in touch with Dalvin Lucky? Have they been communicating?
I don't know that they've been communicating. That has not been relayed to me. She had mentioned something that he was incarcerated and it was a pretty strict lockdown. And that's, I believe, what was mentioned at mediation. I do not know if they have been in direct contact with each other.
Okay.
I speak with him. Ms. Dean, hang on. You can't testify while she's testifying, so we'll get to you. Just hang on.
Okay.
Judge, I don't have any further questions.
All right, and Ms. Zavala?
I have no questions, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, Mr. Trout, any further questions of this witness?
Nothing further from this witness, Your Honor.
Okay, all right, do you have another witness to call?
Just to let Ms. Dean say what she was trying to say, I will call her Shatasha.
Right.
And the question was asked as far as contact with Dalvin Lucky. Have you had contact with him?
Yes.
How often do you have contact with him?
Like once or twice a month. He just texts me off of like the core links. It's like an app in the jail that they can text. He just texts and asks for pictures of the kids.
Okay. Have you relayed any of this information to him?
No.
Okay. So you haven't had a discussion as far as what we talked about in the mediation?
No.
Okay. I'll pass witness, Your Honor.
Ms. Dean, was there anything else you wanted to tell us about that?
No.
Okay, all right. All right, Mr. Jackson, do you have any questions for her?
Just briefly, Ms. Dean, I represent Dalvin Lucky, and in regard to this mediation, after you attended the mediation and you all came to an agreement, and is it your testimony today that you haven't told Dalvin about what was in this agreement? Is that accurate?
Yes. I haven't talked to him since after the mediation. I haven't talked to him since. I think they took that app from him because it's saying he currently can't use it when I get on there now.
Okay. Well, during the times that you have had access to him, been able to communicate with him, you said that he was asking for pictures and whatnot. Is it your opinion that based on what Dalvin's telling you that he does not want his rights terminated? He wants to be a part of these kids' lives?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think he wants to be around when he gets out, but we don't discuss that. He just pretty much asked like for pictures and stuff, and like tries to give me his address and stuff.
Okay. All right. And do you know? Well, strike that. Your Honor, I'll pass the witness.
Okay. All right, Ms. Zavala?
I have no questions, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, Mr. Trout, anything further?
I would call Tammy Thomas. And you attended the mediation with us, is that correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And you heard what I announced earlier, what we had discussed and come to an agreement with at the mediation?
Yes.
And you are in agreement with doing that?
Correct.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Hammonds is joined us. Mr. Hammonds, do you have any question for Ms. Thomas?
I do not, Judge.
Okay. All right, Mr. Jackson, any questions?
No questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Zavala?
No questions.
Okay. Mr. Trout, anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Does the department rest?
Department will rest, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Hammonds, your client's present. Do you need to call her, or do you have anybody else to present today?
No, Judge, we had nothing to add to the court.
Okay, Mr. Jackson?
I have no witnesses, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Zavala?
No witnesses, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Zavala, do you have a recommendation to make?
I do, Your Honor. I do believe that the agreement that was reached in mediation, as well as the proposal that's in front of you today regarding dad, I believe that those are all in the children's best interest. I've been able to meet with the kids several times in Ms. Thomas's home. Although this particular case only deals with the girls, they are also placed with their brother, and they are all doing very well in Ms. Thomas's home. I do believe that this agreement is in the girls' best interest.
All right, thank you. Okay, everybody else rest and close.
Rest and close.
Rest and close, Your Honor.
Yes, rest and close, Judge.
Okay. All right, at this time, then I do find it in the best interest of name their mother, Shatasha Dean, and Ms. Tammy Thomas as joint managing conservators of both children. Ms. Thomas will have the right to establish the children's residence. Father will be named as a possessory conservator. Mother will pay child support based on minimum wage, calculating that there are 3 children, 2 in this case, 1 in another case, plus $50 a month in medical support. In this case, also upon Mr. Lucky's release from incarceration, 30 days after that, then he will be obligated to pay child support based on minimum wage plus $50 a month in medical support. Mr. Lucky's visitation will be supervised at his expense through Family Support Services, and he is obligated to set that up with them. This time I'll dismiss the department and all court-appointed attorneys from the case, and we'll sign final order when that's presented to me. All right. And I think I failed to say, I'm sorry, Mom's visitation will be as announced. I don't think I included that. So Mother's visitation will be as announced by Mr. Trout. All right. Thank you all very much.
Judge, real quick, I apologize. I don't know. I'm looking back in the case. If Mr. Lucky has ever been adjudicated as dad in this, I was just looking back at him.
Oh, okay. I'm not, well, we severed it, so I don't have all my prior notes, but probably not. So let's just back on the record. I will adjudicate him as the father, establish parent-child relationship between them. I'm going to name him as a possessory conservator.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate you calling that to my attention.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Judge.
you.
Honest.
Unless you guys are still with me, then have a great rest of your day. Right away. Yeah.
You do the same.
Is Aaron,
Thank you.
is Aaron Sessions in that next hearing? Do you know?
She's
saying no.
She's shaking her head no. Do you need to speak with her?
Yes, ma'am, if we could.
So that would mean you want a breakout room?
I wasn't gonna say that.
It still counts, even if you don't use the exact words.
It does. Okay.
The B word, the B word.
We're here for our status hearing. We're conducting this through Zoom. We are live streaming, and Ms. Taylor's making our record. Okay, we'll take announcements.
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Mickey Lane is my primacy specialist. We're present, ready, Your Honor.
Oh, Natalie Archer for the mother.
Stacey Zavala on behalf of Sophia.
Okay. Ms. Lane, anything new since the court report was filed?
There's some ongoing concerns with Sophia's health related to acid reflux causing her to choke, some severe allergies. She was actually taken to urgent care last night for her breathing, and concerns of possibly being re-exposed to drugs during visitation. Sophia has a doctor's appointment on the 13th, which I will attend to verify through a physician what all is going on with Sophia.
Have we gotten drug tests on parents?
The father in the case, I have not, or possible father, I have not had any contact with. The mother in the case has completed her psychological. She has drug screened 3 times so far. 2 were observed UAs, which were negative, and then a strand, which came back for 4,000 in cocaine metabolite. But she is not in court today, Your Honor, because she had a class this morning for us.
Okay. But so she's cooperating and engaged. So
yes, ma'am.
Engaged in services. I'll clarify that. Okay. All right. Did she sign her service plan?
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
Yes, ma'am. I was just supposed to say that, Judge. Service plans were signed on April 24th. They were filed on May 6th. Service plans for Dad were filed yesterday, or came through this morning, but have been filed.
Okay. But we've had no contact with him at all.
No, ma'am. He was personally served at the beginning back in March, but I don't believe anybody's been able to locate him since.
Okay. Okay, Ms. Archer, anything today?
I wondered if, well, Mom did let me know that she wouldn't be here, that she'd be taking that class, and she does want to fully comply. I did wonder what the caseworker meant about visitation. Can she clarify about, she said something about concern on drug use, but Mom's tested negative.
Yeah, Sophia is showing some difficulties after visitation. which ECI evaluator had noted some concerns, but honestly, without a physician verifying and double checking what's causing she has constrictions really bad and she shakes. She also won't go to sleep for several hours after those visits. So we're trying to determine what the issue is with Sophia.
Okay, thank you. That's really all I have to report, Judge, is that Mom is being fully compliant and we signed off on the on everything for today. So
would Mom have any objection to, at least in the next few visits, till we can kind of get a handle on this, masking up and gloving so that there's no skin to skin contact and maybe not, close respiratory contact?
I think she would be willing to do whatever it takes to just maintain visitation.
Yeah. Okay. Let's just do that and make sure that we don't have something like that going on.
Okay, I'll let her know.
The baby's, kind of struggling as it is with allergies and other things. So, it may be a way just to eliminate it, Ms. Archer, that, it's not, but okay. All right, Ms. Zavala?
Your Honor, I have no questions. My only concern was kind of Sophia's health. Placement is on top of getting that looked at. Some of the stiffness and things kind of look like they could be withdrawal. I'm in agreement that we need a medical evaluation on her, and that is in place. And my concern was just making sure that we stay on top of drug testing for Mom, to make sure that there's no re-exposure. But that's been addressed.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, she's engaging in services. I mean, the UAs have been negative. I mean, I really don't want to take visitation away at this point, but let's just put that safety protocol into play until, we can either eliminate that or, she's got a clean hair or, I don't mean to go overboard with it, but, let's just see if that makes any difference. Okay. Then I'm going to continue the department as temporary managing conservator and continue the child's current placement. I will find there's a continuing danger to return the child home today. I'm going to order the service plans as an order of the court, and we'll go ahead and ask Mom to please mask up and glove, long sleeves, so that we know we don't have skin to skin contact for at least a little while till we get some kind of medical opinion at least. And then we will have our next hearing on September 3rd of 2024. That'll be on a 9 o'clock docket. And Ms. Archer just reinforced to her that, that's, it's just kind of an abundance of caution and that hopefully to eliminate that's, that whatever with mother is not the cause of anything.
Sure. And then as soon as they figure out the cause, we can reassess, correct?
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. Thank you all so very much. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
And Your Honor, I think you may have said that Ms. Shorten's in the waiting room. When she comes in, I would love to have a breakout room with her, and I think that could be with St. Francis as well.
Sure, Mr. Jackson. He's never going to live it down.
Never.
Because we're not going to let him.
He's too much fun to pick on.
I know.
And Judge, you'll need to bring in Heidi Collins.
And whenever possible, would it be possible to have a bench conference with yourself and the attorneys?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Trout's still talking to Mr. Hill. So as soon as they get done, we can do that. We're here today. We were scheduled for a final in both cases, but we've had some developments. So it appears that that's kind of impossible to do today. We'll talk about at least what the court thinks we're going to need to do. But we are conducting this through Zoom. We are live streaming, and Ms. Taylor is making our record. All right, go ahead and take announcements, and then we'll jump into our problem.
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. We're present, ready, Your Honor.
Natalie Archer for the mother, Chantel Dean, and we're both present and ready.
Jeff Hill on behalf of Steve Lewis, the father of the Lewis children. He is here. We're ready.
Stacey Zavala on behalf of Charisma, Karma, and Kiana.
Okay. So my understanding in bench conferences that we had a mediated settlement agreement that involved naming placement as a conservator. Placement's given some further thought to that and has decided that that's not really the best thing for her to do at this time. So we are right up against our dismissal date, May 13th. On these cases, there's no way that the court can reschedule a final before that dismissal date. And, because we're going to be looking for new placement for 3 children, I would like to maximize the amount of time that we have to accomplish that. So I find that there are extraordinary circumstances in the case, and I think the thing to do is to extend. I believe Ms. Archer wants to speak to that, and Ms. Archer, I'll let you address that.
Well, Your Honor, my client feels like we've been in this case a year and she has done everything that's been asked of her and she's ready to have her children back. So we would object to an extension at this time.
Okay. And I understand that. And Ms. Dean, here's the problem is we got 4 days to do this and I can't do it. I mean, I can't schedule it. I won't have a court reporter. I don't have, I don't even know that any of these attorneys could possibly be here, tomorrow or Monday or Tuesday. And, so we're just out of time. So I've got to extend the case to give us enough time. What we can do is I would like to set, and we can talk about this. What I was going to do is have a review hearing today, set another review hearing on July 9th and a final for August 15th. But if everybody wants to set the final on July 9th, I just think it's with 3 children and looking, at potentially, and Ms. Dean, I'm not eliminating that placement could end up being with you, but I don't think anybody's prepared to move forward with a contested hearing today because everybody thought we had this worked out. So, your attorney included, and some of these other attorneys may have other witnesses that they need to bring in that aren't present today. It's patently unfair to force everybody to go to trial today when they thought everything was agreed, because that changes the landscape entirely. So I want to be able to give them adequate time to prepare and be ready for a final hearing that could be contested.
So is there any way possible that the kids could be placed with me for the time being till the court date comes, or is that not an option?
I mean, we're going to have a review hearing and I'm going to hear about what things are going on, and what concerns we have. And, that's always a possibility, but I haven't heard any of that yet today. So, I need to hear that obviously. And then, my preference would be to push the final till that August date, just to make sure we've got plenty of time for whatever options we need to explore.
Okay. Well, I mean, like I said, the year is about to be up and I've done everything I was supposed to be doing, been more than cooperative. I just don't understand why we pushing the date so far back still.
Well, we could reset it for July 9th. I have so many final hearings scheduled between now and that date. I just don't have an earlier date that I can do it than that July 9th. And that, I'm not even sure, Miss Katie, what else do we have on that date? Because I was talking about having a review on that date. Do we have a full schedule already?
Yeah, you already have 3 finals that day.
Yeah, so I just don't see that I can do the final until August. So what we will do is have a review hearing right now, and I'll hear where we are in the case and all that, and placement with you is always a possibility. So Ms. Archer, I understand you and your client's position, but I'm going to overrule the objection and find extraordinary circumstances do exist. We had an MSA and what we thought was an agreement, and that's going to fall apart. So, we need some time to explore what we do now. So I am going to grant the extension in the case. I'll set the next review for July 9th and then the final for August 15th. All right, let's go ahead and get an update on where we're at. And obviously we all know Ms. Dean is wanting placement of the children back. So.
And
okay.
Judge, real quick on those dates, new dismissal date would be November 8th.
All right, thank you. Okay, so what do we have new?
Chantel has completed all of her services. She has like 8 more parenting classes left. She has unsupervised visits in her home. and they're going really well. She gets 2 hours on every Monday. Right. She has moved in with her great grandmother due to having a shooting in her home, and the kids aren't allowed to visit with her if she goes back to the home on Walnut. And that's really all the updates.
Okay.
Well,
So,
they had. Oh,
hang on a
excuse
minute,
me.
hang on. So I heard she's completed everything, but then I also heard she's still got
Yes.
8 or 9.
I have 5
parent-
parenting classes left.
5 parenting. Okay.
Okay. So technically she hasn't really completed.
Correct.
Okay.
And,
All right.
and Judge, just to clarify on that, I believe at the last hearing, there was kind of a dispute over whether she had to do the parenting classes if they were in their original parent service plan. We discussed that they were. Then she was ordered at the last hearing to complete those. So she started those after the last hearing in March. So she's working through those.
Okay. All right. And got unsupervised visits going.
Yes,
It's
ma'am.
still the 2 hours. That be 2 hours every Monday. Haven't nothing changed with my hours or anything. It's still the 2 hours.
Okay, but we're not having any problem with that, Ms. Combs?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And, all right. We think she's living in a safe home at this time.
Yes, ma'am.
And you said that was with,
Her great grandmother.
okay. Is there room in that home for the children?
I have not checked the home yet.
They had went and checked the home just for me for temporary while the time being it was like off and on. They wanted to make sure I was okay. They refused my victim fundings because they said that it was a random shooting, so therefore it was nothing that they could do about it.
Okay, well, the issue is I need Ms. Combs to be able to meet with you to take a look at the home, see if it's set up for that many children in the home. You know, are there enough beds? Is there enough space? Is there, you know, all those things. But
well, I still have my home. I haven't moved out yet. They told me I could come back to my house. They just, for safety precautions, they wanted me to go to my grandma's house for that week, and I went over there for that week and I had returned home.
So, can I ask Ms. Dean a question, Your Honor?
Yes.
So Ms. Dean, you've moved back into the Walnut home?
Yes, I never really moved out permanently. I just was over there to my grandma's house temporarily.
Okay. And have they finished the investigation? I haven't seen, so I don't know. Have they finished the investigation into that?
They did. They ruled it was just a random shooting. Like I said, they denied me victim crime funding and everything because of the shooting was random.
Okay. There was, in regards to the shooting though, it was not just 1 or 2 shells shot into the house. It was quite a lot. Is that correct?
It was.
Okay. In my understanding, it was around 30 shot rounds fired into the house.
No, it was about 10. It was just shell casings outside of the home, like 20 shell casings outside the home that they found. But the home, it was just like 10 bullet holes in my house that came from the back window.
Okay, so this wasn't somebody driving down the street. This came in from the back of the house.
Yeah, from the back of the house. Just random shootings that's been happening around. So they ruled it just random shootings. They don't nobody know. The investigation had closed, everything. So we really don't, I have no control over that one.
Yeah. Okay. And Judge, that's kind of the, of course, court can order, but from St. Francis' perspective on that, a random shooting in the home and then placing 3 young children that are still in care back into that home is something we can't agree to at this point. But understand the court can make the decision on that. But this just happened, I believe, about 3 weeks ago.
Yes, 3 weeks ago.
About
and the
3
thing
weeks.
is, with all the kids that I do have, I can't just up and move. I had to give the landlord 30-day notice. So I'm in a situation looking for a house and everything like that. But I couldn't just up and just leave because that's just not how it works. I had to let them know the cause and everything.
Yes, ma'am. And
So Ms. Dean, is your intent to give notice and find a different place?
Yes, for certain.
Have you given notice yet?
Yes, ma'am.
And Judge, on that note, if we could let Ms. Dean find a new home, make sure it's enough room for the other children, and then revisit this situation as far as placing. Visitations seem to be going well. I don't think there's any issue if we up some time as far as the visitations, but we would ask to hold off on placing the children back in the home until she has a new house and we know that it's appropriate for that many children.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I wanted to
So what
ask
about
too,
the
Your Honor.
visit?
Seeing how school's about to be out and the kids will be home, I'd like to see her visitation increased. And then once she moves and is in a new place, I can file a motion for additional overnights and so forth.
Yeah, let me just, and it's somewhat a moot point, but so has the damage been repaired to the home that was shot?
Yes, my landlord, he came yesterday to check out the damages and everything to get everything situated.
Okay, but have those repairs been made?
He in the process today. He's supposed to come at 1:30 to finish the rest of the packing of the hose and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Were you all at home at the time?
No, ma'am. Unfortunately, well, good thing that we wasn't, but no, I wasn't.
Okay. All right, then. Okay, let me hear from Ms. Zavala.
Your Honor, the girls are doing well in placement. It's my understanding that placement can continue to keep them for a while, just not long term. I do know or I believe that with school, Ms. Shorten may need some assistance still in these last few weeks of school in terms of where the girls are going to go after school, and maybe that could provide some visitation opportunity for Miss Dean. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud at this point. I do have concerns about that home and the shooting and making sure we've got good information and there's a good, safe place for the girls to go. But I don't see a problem at this time in upping Miss Dean's visitation.
So let's find out from Ms. Shorten, what kind of assistance do you need as far as after school?
Yes, ma'am. I work 3 days a week, 12-hour shifts. I am a nurse. And so, I mean, the whole 12 hours, with me being at work and schools being out, they said that the girls couldn't stay here by themselves. And so it's just, I just don't know what to do.
All right. So, but this is once school lets out, correct? That we have a
Yes,
problem?
ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes.
Until then, are you covered? I mean, until school lets out?
Yes, ma'am. My sister is helping me right now.
Okay. So when is school out?
May 24th.
Okay. Miss Dean, when do you think you'll be in a new place?
Well, I just gave my landlord a 30-day notice. As soon as I find another house, I can relocate. I just started working, just have to have the funds and stuff to move.
Okay, so what's your work schedule?
Right now, and I work one job at Taco Bell, and it's Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and it's part-time. And then I have another job, like trying to put me on a schedule at Whataburger. So it'll be Sundays, Wednesdays, and Mondays.
Okay. I think we're going to need to get a family team meeting together to figure out between mom schedules and Ms. Shorten's and see, I don't have a problem with what school is out that Ms. Dean her visitation can increase, and she can maybe keep the girls for some of those periods of time that Ms. Shorten is at work until she gets a new home, and we take a look at that and make sure everything's ready to go. So, I mean, I don't know what hours Ms. Shorten's work. If she's 7 to 7, I don't know. And Ms. Dean's got different probably hours, and I can't work all that out right here, I don't think. So I think St. Francis is going to have to sit down with y'all and figure out what that schedule could look like. But we got a couple weeks to get that done before school's out. So I am not opposed to Ms. Dean having the additional time maybe to look after the kids if her work schedule permits to do a portion of that.
Judge, may I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
The oldest child is 17, right?
She is, yes.
Why can't a 17-year-old not be, if she wants to, and everybody's willing? I've got a 16-year-old that babysits kids all over town all the time. She's got a nanny job lined up this summer. Why can't a 17-year-old not be trusted to watch some of these kids if she's willing? And
I think it's a department policy our St. Francis policy because they're in care. I don't know. Ms. Brown? Got the magic answer?
Sorry. Yeah, she would have to be like CPR, first aid certified, all those kinds of things in order for us to approve that, to be an approved caregiver.
So that's the short answer. And I guess, Mr. Hill, the real answer is that there's a higher, I suppose, duty of care since we're dealing with other people's children. It's one thing for a parent to make a decision about who's going to look after their own children, but when we're making a decision about who's going to look after someone else's child or children, there's a little higher standard of care.
Judge, one other thing on the increasing Ms. Dean's time and letting her watch the children if Ms. Shorten's at work. We have the other father, Jordan Barnes, that was in the other case. He's on supervised visitations. In his case, we would have to have it in there that he's not allowed to be around helping Ms. Dean watch when that happens, since he's on supervised with his own children.
Yep. So that's why I'm saying, I think the details of this are gonna, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I just don't have all the moving parts. So I think y'all are gonna need to sit down and have a meeting about what this looks like. And number one, with Ms. Dean working one, maybe two jobs, really, how much time is she gonna have to actually do that?
Yes, ma'am.
And then further looking down the road, Ms. Dean, what are your child care arrangements going to look like if the children come home?
I mean, like she said, I do have a 17-year-old that can watch after the siblings, not the youngest babies. They're already placed with their granny, so they're already taken care of. It would just be the Charisma and Karma.
Well, that's something you guys are going to have to all get together and talk about, whether or not that's feasible or not. Maybe we can get Kiana trained in those things and get her up to speed on what she'd need to know.
I mean, if you don't mind me saying, London, I know she do certify in CPR and she for the license and everything like that. If she do need to be in a class or anything.
Does Steve have any right to say anything? Because he does. Those are his kids. Even though he live in Oklahoma, he has a father that lives here. They have a second family. And then Chantel's doing good. She practically, she needs the kids there for her to help her probably with her other kids also. The other three. She's doing a good job.
No, and nobody is saying contrary. I mean, I'm just we got a lot of moving parts with what's going to happen over the next, say, month or so while we kind of transition all this. She's moving. She's got to get into a new home. We have to check that out. And, so nobody's suggesting that she's not doing well.
Even though I live in Oklahoma, I can't understand. People think that my son is a big deal for me to handle. I've had home health care. He's on, come to my house every day. And that helps me get out and do what I need to do. Like he has his kids. People say that just because he can't get up, he's doing well in therapy, that he can't be with his kids. And if Chantel can't have them, I don't understand why we can't get them. They have somewhere to go. And his fathers live here.
Would it be possible for the summer they could visit down there or visit him too? It'd probably help a little bit with the sitting arrangements if they could visit for the summer. Or
I think we could
there was an accusation made about me why I couldn't have the kids, which was not proved. And I told Heidi the situation about what happened that day, but that don't make no sense because the kids was coming over to my house every day after school. I had them every day after school. I would pick Karma up. And she was there every day and they got dropped off at my house every day. And they helped out a lot with me and my son.
Okay. So Ms. Lewis, let me just tell you, you live in Oklahoma now, correct?
Yes.
Okay. There's a whole process as far as placement of the children that has to be gone through for me to place the children out of state. And it's called the Interstate Compact for Placement of Children. It's called ICPC is what we call it. And I have to have an approved ICPC home study done on you before I can ever place the children in Oklahoma. So it's a lot, but yeah, well, I know it's easy to say you understand, but here's what I'm trying to tell you. It's a many month long process, 5-6 months. Takes a long time. So it doesn't help us in the short run. Okay. And my hope is that these children will be home long before an ICPC home study could be done. So what I'm concerned about is what happens in the next 30 days and 60 days. And so I think it is feasible that children could come for a visit this summer. I think that probably could be worked out, but it would be a visit. It would not be to live there. Okay.
Yeah,
So
that's fine. But I'll probably move back. If things are not going well here, I'll probably move back if I have to. We don't mind moving back. I don't like it really down here. I only moved down here to see if I could get better therapy for him. But right now I don't even like it down here. So I'll probably move back home.
okay,
That's what we're discussing.
then you just got to keep everybody informed of what you decide to do.
Yeah, I will.
I just wanted you to understand why I can't just send the kids over there. Federal law says I can't do that.
Okay, but just to visit, they can visit, right?
We could probably arrange for Karma and Charisma to come for a visit. Yes.
Why not Kiana?
If she wants to. I mean, Mr. Lewis isn't her dad, but if she wants to, I'm fine with that.
He's her dad.
So what I'm saying is,
I know what you're saying.
There are so many ifs, ands, buts, or whats sitting here today. I can't put all this together today. I'm sorry. I mean, I think I'm going to come back to, I think St. Francis, Mom, you all.
What for? Why would they go back to placement when they got placement? Ma'am, she should have her kid.
No, you're misunderstanding me, Ms. Lewis.
God, I'm sorry.
I want St. Francis, Mom, you all, Mr. Lewis, you. I want everybody to have what we used to call, I don't know what it's called now, but a family team meeting. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Where you guys are all going to get together and figure out what's Ms. Shorten's schedule, what's Ms. Dean's housing situation, what is her work schedule, how can we make this work for the kids on the immediate basis, and then the next, say, 60 days, and how do we transition them back home? Yes. Because I think Ms. Dean is doing well. And so that's the goal, is to reunify the family. But I can't sit here and do that today because there's too many things up in the air. I can't place them with you because you're in Oklahoma. I have to have an ICPC to do that. Ms. Dean needs to get her housing things situated. We got to check that out. So, Ms. Shorten's going to need some help here pretty quick. So all I can say is everybody's going to have to sit down and get together and compare schedules and say, okay, here's when I can do this and here's when I can do that. And I can't do that today.
Well, how about getting Kiana CPR ready? Because she's 17 and, so she can watch her own siblings.
I'm great with getting her certified. I think everybody ought to know how to do CPR.
Yes.
So, if she doesn't know, fantastic. It's time for her to learn. I'm great with that.
Yeah. I am CPR instructor.
There we have it.
Okay. Then she could learn. Yeah.
But there's things that have to be done. So I just need everybody to schedule a meeting so we can compare schedules and notes and figure it out. Okay. So for today, I'm going to continue the department as temporary managing conservator. I'm going to continue the children's current placement with Ms. Shorten, order that we get this family team meeting together as soon as possible. We'll have another review hearing on July 9th. If placement hasn't occurred by then with Mom, we'll talk about it again. But, the idea is we're going to be increasing Mom's time, her responsibilities, easing the kids back into it. And then hopefully we place the kids back home over the summer months.
Okay, sounds good.
And then a final August 15th, that's before school starts, to make sure we've got all of this ironed out before the kids start back to school. Okay, I appreciate everybody's patience. I wish I could just, poof and have this all resolved, but I don't have all the information I need to do that. So,
Judge, real quick, let me ask Ms. Combs real quick when Mom's last drug screens were.
Let me check. April 12th. And her UA and her hair follicle was both negative.
Okay. All right. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right. So I'll see everybody back July 9th, but
that's crazy.
Please, let's get together as quick as y'all can, because the clock is ticking.
Yes, ma'am. If we need to get into a mediation, I'll get in touch with the mediator.
Okay. Sounds good.
Thank
All
you.
right. I appreciate everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everybody have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, Judge. You too.
You, Judge.
Thanks, Judge.